it's great to hear what's being developed and taken forward, not just in this country, but internationally. I travel a lot, and there are huge differences in attitudes to disability when you go to different countries, including in Europe, by the way. Now, I have great pleasure in introducing not only the first of our 2 Secretaries of State, but also 3 people representing the incredible charity Help for Heroes. So first, will you please welcome the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions, Iain Duncan Smith.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks to Esther and her team for organising all of this, and to Ashok and to Andrew for giving us some really good pointers and inspiring us in a sense as to what can be done within business. Can I, Andrew, I don't know where you are at the moment, whether you've disappeared to one of the tables or not, say I would love to take up the challenge of companies coming to lobby us about what more we can do with regards to regulation. That would be a massive departure for us, as I normally get lobbied exactly the opposite direction by most of those companies. So, as you said earlier on, Frank, bring it on, please, bring it on, because I know that many in this lobby here would love to see that. And can I just also say that, you know, we start on the background of this on a really great day, but on the backdrop of that we spend a lot of money, more probably than most other countries, certainly in Europe, on support for people with sick and disabilities, but actually we have a much poorer record of getting people with disabilities back to work than, say, a country like Germany that actually spends less money. So, Andrew, you're right, come and lobby us, because there's plenty that we can learn from them about the relationship between government and business. Can I also say, before I make a few comments here, it's a massive privilege today to be here. It's a massive privilege to be in the company of so many really inspiring people. But more importantly today, we will be joined, after I finish speaking, by Paul, Andy and Simon. And can I just tell you, we know very well, as we were hearing earlier on, that for the most part people acquire their disabilities as they go through life. But these are 3 great men who have acquired theirs involuntarily while serving their country to protect people and to give them the kind of freedom and help that we all take for granted. Could we please show them what we think of them right now, please? This conference really today is a start. It's all it is. It's inspired by the best initiatives and practices already underway in industry. I hope we can all begin following this conference to create a positive view of society that is one that uses all its talents, and we clearly don't as we stand today. Yet as a society we still have a long way to go, and there are some 12 million disabled people across the country, making 1 in 5 of the population. And if we look around the workplace, and all of us have to admit that, rarely do we see that that ratio is fairly represented. As the Prime Minister said, there is a gap. In fact, the gap is an employment gap of 30 percentage points between disabled and non-disabled people in the workplace. And he said earlier on that if the employment rate for disabled people was equal, an extra 2 million disabled people would be working. For too long, then, we have let individuals' potential go to waste and allowed people to believe that their talents were simply not valued, or even not valued enough. Well, I think that now is the time to close that gap. And back in January, I attended with Esther a dinner with people from industry and those who had disabilities from the lobby, and they were telling me and saying to me, we just can't break through at the moment to get the message across that it's not as difficult as people think. And coming out of that dinner, I said to Esther, let's do something about this. Let's see if we can bring industry and the lobby and disabled people together to try and exchange ideas and try and say to the world of industry and business, you know, it's not difficult. There are real reasons why you can do it. And that's the beginning of this conference. In fact, I handed over to Esther, since then I've been bossed to death for the last 3 or 4 months to get everything done, but it's working, and that's brilliant to see you all here on that basis. And the conference, therefore, is about sending a clear message that together, government and business, and step up in order to get more disabled people into work, that vital first move into work. And that will be about breaking down the barriers that clearly still exist. So the first step, so often the hardest, is in many cases a question of changing perceptions. It's about a lack of confidence with employers uncertain about employing a disabled person. Many employers are familiar with the barriers disabled people face and how to remove them. And today you'll hear from some of the most experienced. You've already heard from 2 incredibly well known and understanding on the issue of getting disabled people back to work. But however, there are others who have no experience of employing disabled people, and this is really hugely about them. And even where employers do have strong programs in place, there are individuals who nevertheless find the barriers very, very difficult often to overcome. Today's conference, therefore, marks, I hope, the start of a 2-year campaign dispelling what all too often are misunderstandings or misconceptions. Many businesses have told me and many others that their disabled employees are actually more productive, more loyal, and have better attendance records than their non-disabled colleagues. And the in-work support required is often less expensive than employers expect. The average cost of reasonable adjustments is just something in the order of £75. And this can often be paid for by government. So let's work together to spread the message that disabled people's spark and talent can give employers that competitive edge that you were hearing about earlier on. And this very much struck me on a recent visit to Help for Heroes, a fantastic charity, as I was saying earlier on, supporting injured soldiers and veterans to reinvigorate into what they refer to as civvy life. As an ex-soldier, it's a real honour for me to share the stage with these real live heroes. And at a recovery centre in Tedworth, which I visited, I met Dan, Jamie, Michael and Mark, who were going through rehabilitation, each of whom had received injuries, both psychological and physical, that could result in them being disabled, 3rd-degree burns, broken limbs, amputations, hearing loss. Yet in spite, or even in part because of their injuries, these men showed great resilience, drive and dedication. All of them absolutely determined to get into work no matter what the perceived barrier was. For too long, and this is what really made me think, for too long, I think, and I thought after I left there, we've been asking ourselves the wrong question. We need to challenge each other as employers. Instead of asking, can I employ someone with disabilities, we should be asking, how can I afford not to? Improve productivity, increase customer loyalty and retention. Employing disabled people can bring real benefits to the company that you run or that you work in. And the band of brothers is with me here, and I hope, hearing from them, you will see what can be achieved when the right kind of support and the right opportunity are both brought together. Today our message to employers is that recruiting and retaining a disabled person does not have to be challenging at all. So my pitch from behalf of the department and government to you today is about being committed to make that process as smooth and as straightforward as possible. First, from today, everything you need to know will be brought into one place. A brand new internet portal which will link up all the sources of advice, information and help. And second, we're also streamlining access to work, a scheme which offers help to cover any extra cost associated with bringing a disabled person into the workplace and supporting them once employed. Third, we will make it quicker to get this support and better targeting it in order to support the widest number of disabled people possible, whether they be on work experience, an internship, training or in employment. And in doing so, I believe we can build on the good work already being done by many of the employers represented here today, building confidence where once there was uncertainty. Together, we can make real progress over the next 2 years, sharing best practice, business to business, but with the backing, I hope, and support of government. It's not going to be easy, for it will require honest conversations and open minds to challenge misconceptions, and not just amongst employers themselves. There are 3.2 million disabled people who do work and many more who want to work. But amongst some disabled people too, there is often a perception that work simply is not an option. Some individuals see that first step into employment as too difficult, too risky. In fact, a recent poll found that whilst the majority of disabled people want to work, half thought doing so would not be good for their health. Now that's tragic and sad. Yet the evidence from many disabled people, day in, day out, shows that the right work can bring enormous benefits in terms of people's well-being, transforming their lives no less. So work is not just about money or about health. It shapes us, develops us, and helps us create friends and a sense of belonging. The money we earn gives us choices, and the work we do helps us develop so we can make the most of those choices. We have to show disabled people that they are wanted and needed in the workplace, and that they are valued as employees. With government and business working together to both challenge negative attitudes and remove the barriers to disabled employment, in turn we can make sure disabled people know that their potential is valued more than ever. So, conclusion, this is really the beginning. At a time when customers have never been more demanding, as we were hearing earlier, looking at the quality and value not just of goods and services, but also of the quality and value of the companies themselves. There's never been a better time to be disability confident. Across, I hope, party political lines, across business and the third sector. Let's pledge today that no one will be left behind in their ambition to shape and control their lives through work. No one left behind. So let's all get involved, pledge to do it today, and let's make it happen. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Secretary of State. Right, we're going to have a chat.
It would be a massive departure for us, as I normally get lobbied exactly the opposite direction by most of those companies. So, as you said earlier on, Frank, bring it on, please, bring it on, because I know that many in this lobby here would love to see that. And can I just also say that, you know, we start on the background of this on a really great day, but on the backdrop of that we spend a lot of money, more probably than most other countries, certainly in Europe, on support.
It's great to hear what's being developed and taken forward, not just in this country, but internationally. I travel a lot, and there are huge differences in attitudes to disability when you go to different countries, including in Europe, by the way. Now, I have great pleasure in introducing not only the first of our two Secretaries of State, but also three people representing the incredible charity Help for Heroes.
Support for people with sick and disabilities, but actually we have a much poorer record of getting people with disabilities back to work than, say, a country like Germany that actually spends less money. So, Andrew, you're right, come and lobby us, because there's plenty that we can learn from them about the relationship between government and business. And I also say, before I make a few comments here, it's a massive organising all of this, and to Ashok and to Andrew for giving us some really good pointers and inspiring us in a sense as to what can be done within business. Can I, Andrew, I don't know where you are at the moment, whether you've disappeared to one of the tables or not, say I would love to take up the challenge of companies coming to lobby us about what more we can do with regards to regulation. That was.
So first, will you please welcome the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions, Iain Duncan Smith.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks to Esther and her team for